Hello. I didn't even go ones up or anything like that. Look at that.
There we are.
I'll tell you why, is because I'm being totally distracted by Instagram.
Instagram.
Do you know? There we go. So we are live on Instagram for the very first time. It's a brand new thing. And the problem is that the audio from the Instagram stream was playing through my headphones about 5 seconds or 10 seconds behind everything else. And I was getting horribly distracted. And that's why we're both up straight away. But there's only two of us at the moment because Kent has had some audio problems. He made the very foolish decision of, yet again, rebuilding his studio.
Everything.
And yet again, it broke. So he's off somewhere. I think he's watching on the iPad, and he's trying to figure out how to hear us, because we could hear him, but he couldn't hear us, which, of course, is bloomin' useless.
Useless.
Isn't it? Anyway, so if you want to watch us live on Instagram, I can see that we are currently broadcasting live on said platform for the very first time, because they've opened it up and we're able to do that. The only thing that is different, apart from it being an absolute pain because it's so like early days that you have to manually do the stream, whereas everything else is done automatically by our software. It's so new that we still have to do it manually. And we have no viewers on there anyway. But if you were to view on Instagram and you wanted to talk to us, you can talk to us through the chat on Instagram live, but we don't see it in the aggregated thing here. So I'm sort of going to try and keep both windows open in case anybody does want to join. Ooh,
and when you say we're broadcasting it manually, do you mean that we've actually got buckets and monkeys cutting up frames one by one and pasting them, photographs of each frame?
Photographing them,
very, very
them,
fast.
Sticking them very fast. There's
with an infinite number of typewriters.
An infinite number of monkeys.
There you go. Technology, folks.
Isn't it? So, yeah, it's just like, okay, we'll give this a go. I tested the stream last night, and thanks to the two or three people that just jumped on and said hi. But yeah, if you want to watch us on Instagram, we're over there. And we're also on Twitter, or X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. And of course, we're on Facebook and YouTube as well. And I will get back into the normal running order of things. It was just a bit hectic there, what with Kent's issues and the whole Instagram thing. But I thought we'd give it a go and see if that works, and maybe we can attract some extra people. And we need to pad this show anyway, because it's very light on news topics this week, because it's that time of year. Everyone's now taking a step back, falling over the cat. And getting ready for Christmas. So there we go. But anyway, welcome one and all to every single man, woman, child, animal,
penguin,
vegetable, mineral, penguin,
and seal.
And
yeah,
the seal, like the singer. And Neil and Chris
seal?
are here. Neil and Chris are here.
Oh, look at that.
And yeah, so everyone's here.
This is good padding.
This is the padding. This is the waffle.
So is this padding?
What was it? Padding?
Waffle, bear.
And something else, wasn't it? That I insulted you with. Oh, hang on a minute.
Oh, waffle?
Oh, can he hear us?
No.
That'll be a no then. Can we hear you?
No.
No. Oh, this is going to be a blast, isn't it? This is going to
work. So we've got 2 hours of tech support with the Ken Spong show.
This will be an online tech support show.
This is what it's going to be.
Well, I'll be. Anyway, what do we normally do? Let me do this.
Why don't you go solo?
I'll go solo.
Do all the housekeeping. There we go.
Okay, so housekeeping. Welcome to the show. It's episode 193. It is, what is it, 15th of December?
It is the 15th of December. Friday the 15th of December.
Friday the 15th of December. Now, I wasn't here last week.
No.
And I honestly, I've watched most of the show, and it was all right. It was cool.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That was very good. Didn't have any complaints. We didn't get any copyright strikes. So, yeah. I'm happy. And people seem to be coming back. So yeah, more fool them. Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't here last week. I was at the Darkness gig in Norwich. It was a brilliant night, as it always is with the Darkness. So lots of fun was had. It was for my boy's 18th birthday. He's a huge Darkness fan. Sorry, I did that. And he's now 18. All my kids are now grown up and one's left home. The other two are still here. That won't last long. And I just found out today that my wife has booked dinner at a pub tomorrow, right at the time that Norwich City kick off against Ipswich Town in the first local derby for about 5 years. Oh, I'm fuming.
I thought you were going to say then, I just heard from my wife she's pregnant.
Now that would be a miracle, a literal miracle.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else, and it's completely gone. Oh yes, and of course I'm on new medication that I started last Saturday that makes me go to the toilet, number onesies, a lot, and I have to drink even more of this. I've been drinking like 3 or 4 pints a day because if I don't, it gets all. So if I have to run away, Andrew, you might have to take over the show. Solo.
Always presuming I'm not in the toilet having a wee.
Yeah, I mean, you get to our,
between us,
you get to our age, don't you? And it's
When we say live streaming, we really mean live streaming.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Anyway, let's do the housekeeping stuff and get that out of the way because we are padding it. So we've done 10 minutes. We've only got another 1 hour and 50 to go. If you do like what you see, if you do like talking about middle-aged men and their live streaming, then do give us a thumbs up. Does it work on this as well? If I do that, there he goes, look at that, I get a thumbs up. Oh, that's cool. So give us a thumbs up if you like us, give us a thumbs down if you don't, and if you give us a thumbs down, let's see if this works. Go on, do it. No, there you go. Oh, shut up, Siri. Oh, so yeah, give us a thumbs down. Let's test. Oh, we've got echo.
Echo. We've got echo.
Got echo, Kent. Back to the housekeeping. Thumbs up if you like us. Thumbs down if you don't. Give us a comment. If you'd like to comment live on the show, then you can do that in the YouTube chat. You can do that on Twitch, which is also where we're broadcasting from. Can Kent hear us? Give us a thumbs up. Yay! Can we hear you? No, we can't hear you.
You sure?
Oh, there it is. You
there we
barstool. Go. You're a proper barstool.
It worked.
It does. There we go. Drop your mic down because we can't really see. Not that far.
What? Hello.
There. Yeah, that'll do.
Hello. Oh.
We'll come back to you in just a moment. Let me get, because I'm all over the place.
Yeah, go on.
I'm all over the place. So we've done likes, comments if you want to, YouTube chat, or you can comment on Facebook. We'll see that as well. You can comment on Twitch. We'll see that as well. If you comment on Instagram or Twitter, X, or whatever it is, we don't see that live in the show. Although I do see that we've got one viewer on Instagram, and I don't know whether that's Homo sapiens, which is homegrown. He's just said, "What you doing here?" We had a couple of people join us, and then I guess they've gone again. But anyway, so we don't see people commenting on X or Instagram. So I wish they would. Maybe they'll fix that. I don't know. And if you like us and you think other people will, do share us around like your mother. If you want to help keep us on the air, then you can do so by donating via our PayPal donate link, which is right there on the screen. There's also a clickable link in the description below, or you can use Super Chat or Super Stickers. If you're watching on Catch Up, you can then also use the thanks button. That does exactly the same thing. So thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone that's donated so far this year and in previous years. We love you all. As we mentioned, we are across all the social media networks, all the big ones anyway. We don't do TikTok. That's for kids, apparently. But I'm not cool enough to have TikTok. Wagoo's on Instagram. Thank you very much. If you have a question during the show, put a big capital Q in front of it so we can see it. That helps us put it into the question bin, and then we'll pull the questions out of there. as and when, and I think that's it. I think that's enough for the housekeeping. We've wasted enough time. So let's see. We've got people coming in onto Instagram. Very nice. Thank you very much. Modern technology. Wonderful. So, Kenneth.
And there's Kent. Do you need a wee?
Yeah, are you
have you got
susceptible to live streaming?
I think we've got a sufficiency of that. Here we go. We're all on the water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Literally this afternoon, after lunch, I was as regular. It was on the hour every hour. I was like, oh, jeez, what, again?
Oh, God.
But hopefully it's doing its job. So we shall see. If I'm alive this time next year.
Network. There we go.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, listen. Welcome to all of our 100 plus viewers. Thank you very much indeed. That's really nice to see. What else did we have? No, we haven't had anything that I need to apologise or make apologies for Andrew Brooks, who got Grace to send me a message because apparently Andrew was driving and he's unable to text while he was driving. Sensible man. So he got Grace to do it. They're both off up to Blackpool for an EMOM.
Oh.
So Andy won't be in the chat today moderating. I don't know. I haven't seen. Oh yeah, Andy Synth Addict's there, so that's good. He's one of our moderators. Thank you very much indeed for your service. I haven't seen Ben Musines there, but he will likely pop up as he often does. And our moderators are in the chat to keep you horrible lot in line. Not that you need it because you're very well behaved. And there he is. He's present. Is that somebody knocking at my door? I thought I heard a knock, or was that
Is that someone
else?
ringing your bell?
Someone knocking at the door. No? Okay.
Who knows?
Ghosts.
Go. Oh, don't. Ben's there. There you go. That's probably him. He was just knocking on the desk.
Yeah, letting you know.
Hang on. What? Yeah, I heard a knock at the door. Okay. This show is going to go down as a legend, isn't it? I think this is going to be one for the archives.
It's a legend.
There we go. Okay. Should we actually get into a show? I mean, we don't have to. We have got lots of time to kill.
We've got lots of time to kill.
Yeah, I mean, you could have actually strung your technical issues out a little bit.
Oh, don't worry, they will.
Okay, let's. What have you been doing? Because you've got a different angle for a start.
Mostly I've been sitting on the floor crying.
And
we'll return to it after the show. Yeah.
Your camera's now. You're back facing your window.
Yeah. Yeah. And I only have one operational monitor in here.
Ooh.
Weird. Feels.
What have you been doing?
I've been. The idea was to streamline. But I look around me and go, well, that bloody failed. Everything is more internet and RJ45 and less USBs a lot less USBs. I've removed 33 USB cables from the studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were they doing?
Being USB-y kind of thing. It's just less units in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's a good point because we were talking earlier, weren't we, Ken, about how, over the last couple of days, about how with the move towards synths having USB connections, there's almost like an assumption that the synth you have that has a USB connection is the only one you need, or there'll only be 2 or 3 of them with USBs. But the truth is, everything's freaking USB at the moment, and it causes no end of issues.
Yeah.
And so you've been redoing your thing so that your setup, so that you can take advantage of the lovely present that Fiona's bought you, to rationalise all of this and start using RJ45 or whatever, and or going back to MIDI, which is a good thing, and proper audio out into a desk, which then comes out. So you've got you're going back to a more traditional way, but using some fairly wonderful new tech. Would that be a reasonable description?
Yeah. It turns out that PCs have a max limit of the amount of USB data it can handle at any one time.
Well, it does if it's 14 years old.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, I found that sticker on the back and went,
there
it ain't that old, is it? But apparently it is. And yeah, I mean, USBs are getting a bit intermittent and lots of various problems. So I was hoping this new setup would alleviate a lot of the problems. But it obviously started off with one. So, but there's nothing new because it's all, connecting audio to Ethernet is new to me. So,
did you say Ethernet?
Or Internet, whatever the hell they call it.
Ethernet.
Ethernet. What did I say?
Ethernet.
Say Alfa Romeo. That's always good.
Ili Folmanano. See, it really doesn't
Italian
work.
rubbish that doesn't work.
Yeah, this is why I went for a Ford. It's easy to pronounce. You don't look like an idiot in the showroom. So,
because you're surrounded by other.
Because there's other idiots in there buying Fords. Yeah. So and I've gone for an iConnectivity multi USB 5-pin DIN MIDI hub thing. Apparently sports a master clock as well, because that turned out to be a bit of an issue. And I'm just fed up with going, I'm going to sync this keyboard with the DAW, and it goes every 5 minutes. And I've had enough of that. So we are done.
So you sync your entire studio.
Yeah. So the PC is now just going to be this VSL controlled box that sits under a cupboard somewhere, and you never see it. And the Mac Studio is now omnipresent.
As it should be.
As it should be.
As it should be. I was going to say something, and
House.
it just completely went out of my head. My God, I'm getting old.
Nick House has come up with an interesting one. Should we
I've
just
started that. We'll come to that. I want to
come
get
to that?
this-
Okay, good.
I've just remembered what I was going to say. So the thing is, you're absolutely right. Like everything is like USB these days, and it's so much easier to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I've, like I can bring a keyboard onto my desk, and I just have a USB cable and no MIDI stuff, and it's just great. But as you say, it's just like MIDI, USB. I remember when USB first ever came out. I can remember that far back. It was being touted as one port could handle 127 USB devices if you daisy chained them, and that was to me, that was the way it was sold to me. It was that you connect your printer, say for example, to the back of your computer, then you connect your scanner into the back of the printer, and then your joystick into the back of that, and whatever, and you could chain 120, and that's never happened.
Yeah,
and probably with damn good reason. So the key is to find a really, really good USB hub, powered USB hub.
Powered.
But try and find, if you go online and search, top quality powered USB hubs, you'll get a gazillion different recommendations. And for at least 75% of those, you'll get people that say, this is bloody awful. So it really is, it's this kind of hit and miss process. And I've bought hubs and sent hubs back, or I've maybe employed them elsewhere because I just couldn't be bothered to pack them up and send them again. But I tell you, I got one off of Tinternet, I can't remember what the make is. It's brilliant. It's like powered. Every port has got a switch, and I've had absolutely zero issues. USB 3, plug anything into it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But that's the real key, I think, with USB, is to find a really reliable one that delivers consistent power. That's the other thing.
The problem is with so many of certainly with audio interfaces. So I'm going through a desk into an audio interface, then into the computer and back out, and all that kind of stuff. The problem is the audio I/O I've got isn't powered, so it's using USB power, and it doesn't like going via a USB hub because it doesn't have enough power to drive it. But it's not getting enough power always from the computer, so I've had to go like yourself. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 different powered USB hubs here, because every time I went to a review like yourself, what I really wanted to know was, does this work with audio? Does it also have enough juice? Can it? Does it have enough juice to be able to give me the 48 volts plus all the other stuff I need to make this absolutely reliable? And then can I plug in a second device and a third and a fourth?
And another thing,
go.
What was it? Anchor. I think Matt said Anchor.
Anchor's good.
Anker. I've used those, and I had one. I've still got it. In fact, I've got it out of the drawer because I'm thinking I might need it. And I bought another one, and it was a different design. It was a black sleek thing, and it looked very nice. But it had a power switch on it, and it was one of those. It was a non-latching power switch, and the problem was, as I employed it underneath one of those racks in my old studio, and I turn all the power off in my studio overnight because stuff, and to turn the USB back on, I had to crawl on my hands and knees every day if I wanted to use that thing to power, to turn that back on. So again, it's finding a USB hub that doesn't need that, plus can deliver consistent power across all the ports. It is a bit of a, what do they call it? It's like a duck shoot, isn't it? You're never quite sure if you're going to get the right one, but blimey, what have we spent 20 minutes talking about USB?
Hurrah!
Well, like I said, this iConnectivity unit came up for grabs.
I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Well, Max were doing it because I come across it by, did a Google search, and there was it was just loads and loads, like you say. They'd be like, oh yes, this is brilliant. And I had this 32-way thing that had the ability to turn on and turn off various ports as you wished, right? But it was starting to get a bit flaky, and then there was things that wouldn't work in some ports but would work in others, and and it just got more and more complicated and ridiculous. So I was looking at, that thing was, I think it was about 90 quid or something for that hub. And so this particular 19-inch rack version of this hub, I think they had it up for about 395 quid. I'm going, 395 quid for a USB hub? Really? But they'd knocked some money off it, so I thought, yeah, go for it. And I can't really comment on it yet because I really haven't even got it even started yet, but it looks pretty.
It looks pretty. That's all.
I looked at one of those when I was looking for a new MIDI hub, and I went for Nick Houser's just popped this up in the chat, and I completely agree. The ESI M8U, I think that's the correct term. It's got 16 regular MIDI sockets on it, but they are auto sensing, so it doesn't matter what you plug in. If it's connected to the in or the out, the hub knows and will configure itself accordingly. It's also mains powered if you want it to be, if you want to use the USB connectivity, because on the back you've got 4 USB ports. So you've got a master, you've got one of the USB 3, so USB B with it's like the house with the roof, an extra
the
roof
squarer profile.
No, it's square, but it's got an extra bit on top.
Yeah.
So it's quite a tall thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got 4 regular USB-A sockets on there. And then you've got these 16 MIDI ports. So that's, for me, I started using those. But I tell you what, my best USB to MIDI interface, or MIDI to USB interface I've ever used, and I've got 4 of them now. I pick them up every time I see them on eBay, because a lot of people just don't really want them anymore, is the Yamaha UX256, which is a mains powered with a USB connection. You've got 6 pairs of ins and outs, and you've also got 2 TG ports for your 90s synthesizers. I've got 4 of them dotted around the place, and they're bloody marvellous, and they never skip a beat. So they're my recommendations. But yeah, the ESI stuff is incredibly good, and it's orange, which is, as we all know, the best colour in the world. Yeah, because Ty said so.
Well, this one's apple silver. So I thought, well, okay.
Orange.
Good stuff.
Be a tart. Come on.
Thank you, Steve. It is a slow news week. This is why we're filling. But thank you for your donation. Much appreciated. And, of course, thank you to Keith in Watford with his Huskies and his headband, making up for Brooksy's absence. Thank you.
It's Keith.
Much appreciated.
Huskies make up for everything.
Indeed. So that's USBs. Let's not talk too much more about them because we don't want to jinx it and we don't want Kent to disappear yet again. Whilst we've got you bloody Montage owners, Montage M8x owners, Nick's got a question. He says to all you Modi X users, but I'm assuming he means Montage X. Do you think the AN engine sounds as good as the original? I'm assuming when you say the original, do you mean the AN1X, or do you mean something else? I'm assuming that because I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with the AN1X.
I've been. Go on, Ken.
No.
I haven't. No.
No.
Or the original Montage, for that matter.
No.
This is new territory for me.
So, I've played with the AM1X, and it's different. It is different. Ty will tell you, it's a great thing. It's a great thing in and of itself, and I like it. This does it differently, slightly differently, and has more available.
Yeah.
And the ANX engine is an absolute beast, and it's also an absolutely gorgeously pure thing. I've been digging into it a lot. It's an amazing engine. It's an amazing engine. And I was talking to Ty about this. I think we talked last week, and I think I talked to him since. It's one of the things I did very early on was just try and work out what all of the waveforms did, whether or not they were good, whether or not they were proper square, sawtooth, triangle, all that kind of stuff. When I was looking at it on the screen, I'm going, hang on, that's not a square. You go to init patch, and you should have just everything, to default. But actually, they've already got some of the essentially analog emulation, the circuit drift and other such things, sort of 50% switched on. So I was looking at it going, that doesn't look right. And eventually I found this setting, took it all off, and they're really good waveforms, really solid, square, whatever. But actually it sounds really good once you start just dialing in some of that analog drift and wander. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. The only thing I would say that I'm finding a little odd is navigating between each of the oscillators, because it's kind of emulating. The promise with it was that it emulated a CS80, and guess what it does? You can do that thing, but you have to switch to each oscillator separately, so you don't have all the controls always available for every single thing all the time. That's probably going to be an interface that someone wants to make for me, thank you very much, whenever you like, because that's a royal pain in the arse. And putting together presets into performances is a bit of a thing. But guess what? Once you get used to that way of working, it's an absolute delight to author with. It really is.
I wonder if maybe when the plugin arrives, which is supposed to be the basic version in spring and the full version in summer, that maybe there'll be a macro function that you can multi-assign things to something else. I don't know. I can say, as being an AM1X owner and having played the ANX engine, they are essentially two different synths. The use of the AM prefix, excuse me, the use of the AM prefix is simply like, I don't know, the use of the JP prefix on all the different Jupiters. They were all different synthesizers. This is a different thing. The AM1X, as Manny very well explained on Henrik's show last Saturday, is essentially Yamaha's attempt at recreating a Prophet 5 with the architecture, whereas the ANX engine is just a new thing altogether, and it's got 20 years of development experience on top of what the AM1X is. So they're both very good.
Although I will say that there's nothing I've heard on the AN1X that I think I couldn't recreate with the ANX engine.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
There's you might have to do a bit of squirpling and fiddling, but because it is a new engine. It is new. Yeah. And I can't think of anything that I've heard on the AM1X that I couldn't recreate with this if I put my mind to it, if I wanted to. Yeah. But that's kind of not the point. It's an astonishing engine.
So I mean, if I was lucky enough to get a Montage M8x, I would be keeping the AM1X because there's two different things.
Yeah. No, I get that as well. Ty said
Yeah.
the same thing. So's Manny. Everyone that's got one.
Yeah.
Have you got one, Kent? Have you got an M8X?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
It's behind you.
Oh yes, there is. One.
Oh right. Because I always.
Yes,
hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Where's Robbie? Where's yours?
I bet yours sounds better than mine.
Mine's still in the factory being built.
I would imagine.
By elves.
Yes.
Yeah.
The wife did ask actually today, what do you bloody want for Christmas? And I was very tempted to say,
Dangerous question.
yeah, one of those. And then realised that we have a joint bank account. So, yeah. And she doesn't earn anywhere near enough, nor do I. But there you go. Anyway, yes. It'll happen. It will happen, I hope.
I still have to sell my DX5 to pay for some of this.
Yeah.
It's up on Reverb, you know.
I did actually. I looked around my studio the other day. I thought, what could I possibly, because the Montage M8X covers so many bases. I think I could probably get rid of half the stuff in here, and even at today's overinflated used synth prices, I would have to sell quite a bit.
Let's sell our DX1. We'll get a good price for that. Oh God, he's such a tart. He really is.
I was saying to Kent that I think the M8X with the Hydrasynth above it for the keyboard and again more poly, and then probably Osmos. He's got almost everything covered, and then he's got his System 55 modular thing as well. He's got an awful lot of ground covered with just those toys, just that.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of this talk.
Enough of this
talk because it's making me moist about the gusset.
2 words that really don't settle well. They really don't.
Do you know? I wonder if we can do. No, we can't. No. This 2/1 thing. I prefer 1/2. The pyramid, a proper shaped pyramid. I can't move things around. I can do that, but I can't do. No, it's not.
Well, you can't do it, so you couldn't use that as an example.
No, I was going to put the shots in the one on the top and 2 at the bottom. For me, that just looks nicer. But there we go. Anyway, Phil.
Can you excuse me a moment, because I think I need to turn the light on here, because I'm now down to 1 and a bit monitors instead of 7.
You're
it's
not being
really dark
radiant.
and I can't see what I'm doing.
And you wonder why you can't sleep. Because all those, what are the alpha rays? I can't remember what the rays are. That's what it is. No, seriously.
Yeah, I get angry. I go green.
Yeah,
and all this.
no, seriously.
I'll probably go orange.
Google
actually.
it.
No, I totally agree.
Go on, turn some lights on.
Go and turn your lights on.
Because I've got to be careful.
We've got 3 viewers on Instagram. Hey, everybody on Instagram. Thank you for joining. This is our first broadcast on Instagram. As well as all the other places we go to. Okay, so there was a question in the chat from Macaron After Party. That's a great name, isn't it?
Did you cover the new Minifreak update?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Not yet.
It's one of our few news topics. We're building up to it.
Oh, we're building up. Yes, we are.
Yeah. So Minifreak update will be covered very shortly. Oh, we've just lost a viewer on Instagram. They're not very. It's not very sticky over there. There you go. Oh, we've just gained another one. There you go.
Anyway, this conversation.
Yes. So stick around for the Minifreak segment, because that's coming up soon. I even got my Minifreak back out again. That's, just see it in the corner of the camera. That's my Minifreak, and it's playing something else that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, show off. Keyboards making sounds and everything.
I know.
Yeah.
Because nothing, not a thing, not one
thing.
Thank
you, Mr. Matt Evans. Too often overlooked this discussion. I don't know what part of the discussion is, whether that was.
I think he's talking about waterworks.
Oh yes.
That's almost certainly. Not Synth.
Yeah. Oh, no. Thank you for your donation, however, much appreciated, and to Icing the Body Electric. What's he said? Network architecture for reliable and flexible MIDI configuration and recommended bits of kit equals valuable info. Can we have an SOS article, please? I will pass the message on.
Yeah.
I will pass the message on. Talking of Sound on Sound, there's a new podcast coming out next week, and I'm very proud of it. And you should all go and subscribe to your Sound on Sound podcast channels wherever you get your podcasts, because it's going to be a belter. Little plug. Steve, £5.
I've got quite a few of them in
here. Yeah.
Thank
yes,
you.
do. Thank you again. Much appreciated. Now I need somebody to donate something. 63 pence in it. Thank you. Anyway, right. Shall we talk some? Let's have some news, shall we? Let's have some.
There is
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh,
We managed
Matt
all
wasn't
last
talking
week
about
without
men's problems,
touching
he was
about
talking yeah. Matt wasn't talking about men's problems, by the way. He was talking about MIDI USB things. So,
Yeah.
well, we've got an expert in the room. So,
No, I know how to break it.
yeah, Robbie's going to buy some crystals to soak up the alpha wave.
I've got some you can have.
Dear, oh dear. Actually, do you know, somebody years and years ago showed me this thing from Japan, and it was a tube, and it was filled with those little gel crystal things, and it was specifically designed for gentlemen to, if they couldn't make it to a toilet, to evacuate their bladders into it. And these gel things, they not only soaked up the fluid, but they trapped the odor, and then you just sealed the thing and then threw it into the regular trash. I've never seen them for sale.
Where's the fun in that? Isn't the odour part? Oh, hang on. Is this coming out my mouth now? I'm
It
not
is, yeah,
thinking
Imagine
this.
being a bin man and finding a piss tube.
Yeah, but it goes solid.
They do. They
Oh.
go down. People go down the motorway and they find bottles
Roadside
and bottles of
Tizer.
Lucozade bottles full.
Roadside Tizer. Yeah, you see it in the
Yeah,
centre of
roadside
the station.
Tizer.
When I used to be a travelling salesman of some sorts, all you buy is Lucozade, because Lucozade comes with the wide neck bottles.
Ah, okay.
Handy tip. Anyway,
Well,
Enough
the handy
about
tip
that.
fits into the bottle.
did you come here for synthesizers discussion, fools? This is probably why we're gaining and dropping viewers on Instagram. I don't know what are we gaining and dropping. I don't know. Somebody trying to snag slippery eels. Yeah.
What the?
Well, you have three, and then all of a sudden you have one, and then you try and get some more, and then they just keeps going up and down, up and down.
You know how something's a lot bigger than you think it is?
Not knowingly.
Not knowingly, yeah. Just as a side thought here, is that the Behringer X32 mixer is fucking big.
Is it?
Yeah. And
Have you got it?
high.
Did you
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is it?
There.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well,
The
you wanna see
Behringer.
it?
Actually, I think last week we mentioned this with Ty. There we go.
Oh, look at the size of that.
And I mistook the Behringer X32 for the Behringer Xenix, which is a pile of dog doo.
Fool.
The
This
X32,
entire show is run through a Xenix.
it explains a lot. The X32 is essentially a Midas desk, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
got
Inside.
it's I take back. I think I said to you last week. Oh, dear, I was wrong. Is that the 32 has got nothing but good reviews and is a very
Midas,
fine
it's a
piece
Midas
of kit.
desk.
Yeah.
I've got a Xenix 12 something or other on my desk here. My microphone, all my other bits and bobs go in there, and it's not the greatest thing in the world. I'll give you that, and it will probably fail any minute, but it's done. It's done all right,
I still like I said to
And it has
Andrew.
effects.
Well, I think it's a bit of an overindulgence personally that a mixer should have a iPhone holder.
Yeah, but is it a lightning port or is it the old 30?
Oh, I think it.
NFC,
Whatnot he charges it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wirelessly.
Yeah. I
wireless
believe so.
charging and Bluetooth or whatever,
Yeah.
direct NFC, Bluetooth, all of that.
Being an agoraphobic, the chances of having a mobile phone are pretty.
Yeah, like the Polybrute.
Well, they're coming for your landlines. You're going to have a mobile phone at some point.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do some news. I'm going to take charge of this show.
Oh,
It's only 3/4 of an hour in. We could, I suppose,
know.
you know.
Yeah.
I thought
let's
this
do
was
some
past
news,
two
and that'll
parts
take
of
us
last
to
week's.
If we do some news, it'll take us to about 8 o'clock. Because it really is a slow. I dread to think what's going to happen next week. Next week is just going to be silly. I think alcohol will have to be involved.
Oh, yeah.
Christ, yeah.
My daughter's not working. But yeah, anyway. So
Certainly fixed my insomnia.
Let's do some news, shall we? What should we? So much to choose from. I think we should talk about this one first. Yeah, here we go. Barely got a chance to swig my drink in that one. V Collection X is
10.
here. Or 10, yeah, whatever you want to call it. And they're really going for the X thing. VCX is what
10.
we get in all the emails. But it is the 10th iteration of Arturia's pretty impressive collection of instruments. However, what's not so impressive this time is what they've added to it. So let's take a look and have a see what we've got. I mean, there's something like 39 instruments now, I believe. And added to the collection this time around, there are two brand new instruments that have never been anywhere else before, and that is the CP70V, which we all know what that is, and we've also got the augmented woodwinds, which is a brand new instrument, and these are both now available in V Collection and also as separate items as well. Existing instruments that were not in the V Collection before but are in the V Collection now are the Minifreak V, which is an utterly brilliant plug-in and a one-for-one recreation of the hardware synth. We've got Acid V, which I thought is probably, I think is Arturia's weakest offering. I mean, it's a nice thing, but it's not like, it's a bit of a one-trick pony. And then we've got the two augmented items, the grand piano and the brass. And I know Kent likes these. I like these as well. I'm sure Andrew, I don't know if he's tried them.
No.
They are very expressive and very nice things.
Yeah, very good.
And that's it. In terms of new stuff, then they've gone on to rebuild two items. The Mini V is now at version 4, and apparently this is the closest they've ever got to an original Mini Moog. And then there's a revamped Wurlitzer, the Wurlitzer V3, again remastered, remodeled with added effects and etc. So those two have been rebuilt, and then they've added in 3 new expansion packs that gives you something in the region of about 128 new sounds that you can play with. And it's all available there's the list, so a lot of stuff in there. And I don't think we need to go through everything that's in there. It's a lot. You can have that for around, between 540 and 600 of whatever denomination or currency you're looking at, whether it's euros, dollars, or pounds. It's somewhere in the region of 550 to 600 something. But if you already own some Arturia stuff, or you've already got a previous V Collection, you will get your personally discounted price by logging into your Arturia account and checking the price that is on offer there. And I see lots of various different pricing options being bandied around. Some say it's great value for money, some not so much. And it takes your pick and whatever.
Pays your money and takes your choice.
That's the one I was looking for. Thank you very much. But yeah, it is. If you haven't got this, and Kent will attest to this because he jumped on board. Was it last version 9 or version 8?
Yeah, I jumped on with 9. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a brilliant collection of instruments. So if this is your first time into the world of Arturia plugins, then even at $599, the full price, you're getting. I mean, you divide that. What's five? Siri, what's 599 divided by 39?
Why by 39?
She's not.
Because there's 39 instruments. It's about €15 an instrument.
You're making it up. Siri's downstairs on the settee, curled up fast asleep.
Yeah, but she can do maths and transmit it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it works out about £15 or €15 an instrument if you buy it full, and that's insane. Because you can buy those instruments individually if you want to, but they're going to cost you €199. So economically, it is the best way to do it. But I appreciate we are in hard times, and sometimes $399 or $499 is not an appealing price to upgrade and just get a handful of instruments. However, let us take a look at each of these instruments in turn, especially the new ones. So the CP70V is a recreation of the Yamaha CP70. No surprises there. But is it a good one? And I didn't ask you guys before the show because we were so all over the place. Kent, have you upgraded yet, by the way?
No, I haven't done it yet. No.
Okay, Andrew, do you have this at all?
I don't. I've got the 80 from years back, which I bought. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple of other bits. I've never been that tempted by this particular collection because I've got different things. The only thing that has kind of made me wonder about it is Kent and yourself talking about the strings and the brass and whatever. But I don't know. I'm looking at other. I'm still looking at the. Pardon me. Believe it or not, Spitfire and or the Abbey Road, collection as well. I don't know. I've not been. I'm kind of going more towards hardware anyway. But I mean, it is a good collection, but it doesn't look like it's. I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. Some more. I'd like to hear what these are like. I would like to hear what these individual ones are like. How do people in the chat feel about it?
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of discussion about the different prices that people are getting. Some people are getting $299, $399, so on and so forth. I mean, if we just look at the CP70, I love the CP70 sound. Always have. Whether it's U2, Simple Minds, Peter Gabriel, Genesis, Phil Collins... who else? I mean, there's just loads of people. ABBA, that Keen is another one. That sound it's so distinctive and so nice, and that's almost one of its drawbacks as well because it's one sound. So what Arturia have done is they've come up with a whole bunch of presets that messes around with the sound, and you've got the onboard EQ, you've got the onboard tremolo. And then you've got this pedal section in there. You can have 4 effects pedals, a modulation pedal, and something else. You can have 6 pedals in total. So you can mess around with the sound. You can get some interesting stuff from it that doesn't sound very CP70-ish. But for me, the whole thing with the CP70 is that sound, that classic cutting piano sound, which I love, but I've got elsewhere. I mean, I've got lots of sample libraries.
That's the problem. I've got that elsewhere. I've got I've got a library for the emus, which is a really good sample library for it. And I've got RFX, which gives me 16 different effects that I can apply to it and do all sorts of weird stuff with it. And I'm so I can see some people might want this, but I'm not really seeing that's not one that would make me rush out and buy it.
So I've got a CP70 library that I helped sample with Steve from Hollow Sun, and we actually bought a CP70, had it shipped to Cardiff, had it tuned, sampled the living crap out of it, and then sold it again on eBay for a profit.
Hurrah!
Yeah, indeed. And it was that good that the boys from Keen decided that when they went touring that they were going to load 2 Akai Z8s with this sample library in and just have a controller in a cabinet. and that was what they used. And Steve sampled all of the mechanics as well as the notes. So there was, and because the Z series had note off samples as well, so you could do that mechanical. So as soon as you released the key, you could hear the hammer go back into place. And that was, oh God, when did we do that? 18 years ago? I don't know, 15, 18 years ago. So it's not like these things haven't been done. So I was a little bit underwhelmed when I saw this. I like it, and it's nice that it's in the Arturia box, so I can just go there and pick it out. But
I think well, it's not, for me. It's a bit of an issue with this. Is not. This feels like it's old tech now, or doing these kinds of sample libraries. We've had them for so long, and they're slightly better, slightly more. There's a lot of instruments here, but most of it I've already got covered one way or another. And I'm just I just want them to do something new and different, and that's what I'm looking for. So if I want the strings and the brass and that, I'll probably go to a specialist strings, brass, whatever library, rather than this. And there's probably more choice if I go Contact rather than this, but I know there's issues with that as well. So I'm kind of it's almost like having got into a lot of software since very early on, I've kind of just moved so much of it back out of my life again, because it takes it's almost paralysis through having so many options. I just kind of go, I just can't be asked. I'll just bring up a sound. Yeah, that's about right, and I'll tinker with it and fettle from there.
One of the comments that was doing the rounds quite a bit when this came out was what Steve has said in the chat here: is, are they running out of ideas? Have we started to get to that point where
saturation? Yeah,
we've got. I mean, what's left? We are going to get to a point that we're going to go, well, we've got a Jupiter 6 now, and we've got a Jupiter 4, we've got a Jupiter 8. Okay, well, that's all those done. Where do we go from here? And you just think, well, they've all been done. Now you can do them better.
Thing is, I mean, it is a good library. It's a good library. If someone's perhaps not as well provided for, because we've been around forever. We all went to school with God. Because of that, we've got a lot of kit and all sorts of other stuff. And because we've done development, people give us things or we buy things. That we've already got a lot. So I think I'm being a bit cynical, to be honest, about this. Just being a teensy bit cynical and kind of, well, I'm not sure if I need it. Truth is, pulling back from that position, it is still a very good library, and it does get a lot of people use it and swear by it. They think it's a really good thing. I think what I'm saying is it's not for me, and there's nothing here to excite me into going, I'm going to go and spend 600 quid now. There's other things I'd get, I think.
I mean, I have a Minifreak hardware synth, so I got Minifreak V gratis. It didn't cost me anything, and I've got plenty. I've got the Roland 303s. I've got plenty of CP70 sample libraries. If I was thinking about, if I didn't already have V Collection, I'd probably go no. But as a V Collection owner, it's kind of like, got to have them all. So the next batch come in.
See, I'd rather buy a Minifreak hardware
for the same price as this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and we'll talk a bit more about the Minifreak, of course, because there's news about that. Augmented. Now, the augmented brass woodwinds piano, there's also a strings and a vocal one as well. They are actually rather good. And Kent, you like these, don't you?
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah.
What specifically do you enjoy about these compared? I mean, you've got.
Well, they don't take a fortnight to load. There's one thing.
Very true.
And they're sort of like they're one trick pony kind of things. But you call them up to do exactly what it is they do, and you're laughing. I mean, I must admit, as far as this V Collection stuff is concerned, I mean, I got it, and it went on there along with lots of other collections and series of stuff that I have on. But what I did find myself doing with this Arturia one was using it a hell of a lot more. And that's where the value for the money came from.
Why are you using it more? Why?
There's something about it. It's like, for instance, when I called up the 80, I mean, I had reservations about how good it would sound because I've heard various CS80 emulations before, and most of them are sort of like, no. And this one was very, very, very good. And I started looking at some of these other instruments, and they're all good, as opposed to, they're quite good, they're not so good, and they're shite, leave them. Everything was actually perfectly usable, and because it was all sort of like together in one space, just made it easier to use. So, and then they ended up being a go-to much more often than other collections that I have, or even some individuals. I mean, obviously, it has a mini Moog in it, but I have personal tastes, and I want the Ownforce one, the 72, if I'm going to do a mini, or if I can be.
Oh, you mean soft tube? Sorry,
a soft tube. I do beg pardon. Yeah, the soft tube one, or if I can actually summon up the energy and be asked, I'll go to the cupboard and get my 74 out of the cupboard and plug it in and set it all up and everything. But it's not really necessary or required. And this is happening more and more, that the software is getting to the point where it's getting good enough that I don't need to go over there and turn the 80 on. I don't need to. There'll be certain things that I will want to use it for, but it's not the usual area. So the software's got the usual area of a particular keyboard pretty well sorted out. But when you want these real subtle nuanced things, I go over there and turn that on. But that's very rare that I need that. So, and like I say, I find the Arturia one to be really, really useful, and a very good one-stop shop. And because of that, it made it worthwhile getting it.
See, if it had the effects, so if they did a combination of this and the effects and found a price for it that just made the whole thing work, then I'd be really tempted, because the effects are great.
They do something. What do they call it? But it's not. I don't think it includes the effects. They have a product. It's called the Sound Explorers something or other, and it's got all the V Collection, plus you've got like something like 14,000 presets available.
Sound Explorers Collection 2.
Does that come with the effects? I can't remember now.
It's €799. And
didn't 9 come with some effects?
No, V Collection's always been instruments.
It comes with V Collection 9, FX Collection 3, Pigments 4, and Exploration Sound Library.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So it's the instruments, it's the effects, and it's a bunch of presets, and is currently on sale. I saw for about the same price as the full price of V Collection 10, but I think you only get V Collection 9, so you might. I don't know how the upgrade thing works. So, but yeah, they do it, because I've looked at it and thought, oh yeah, that's a nice box as well. It's a pretty box. I'm fickle. What was I going to say? So we've got Acid V, CP7. You've got the augmented. I kind of like the augmented, but then it's not groundbreaking. I remember when they brought augmented strings. I think was the first one. About the same time, UVI did almost an identical thing with an augmented string library that had synthesizer string sounds and acoustic string sounds and allowed you to blend between the two. So yeah, it's nothing new, but it's a nice tool, and it's a nice interface, and you can get some very cool sounds.
Well, Spitfire do also called augmented strings as well. So sometimes it can get very confusing when you're looking down the panels and go, hang on a minute, I've already got that.
Yeah, which one's that?
And although I would say the Spitfire one was better, at least for me, and what I want from the sound, it was considerably more expensive.
Yes.
So, you pay your money, you take your choice, really.
And I see some people have complained in the past about Arturia's augmented instruments using up quite a bit of CPU power. I've not noticed it myself, but then I am.
No, I haven't either.
I'm in the kind of lucky department when it comes to computer processing power. But yeah, so look, it's an interesting collection. If I think it's one of the best collections out there. The other thing is, I'm still surprised that every time the V Collection gets updated, that Arturia. It seems like we've lost our Instagram stream, by the way.
Does seem that way.
Never mind.
That's 3 people disheartened.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Arturia resist the subscription model. But when you think about it, Roland Cloud is $189.99 roughly a year UK. Now, every 18 months, Arturia update V Collection. And if you're going from one to the other, it can be probably around that. So in a way, you're kind of updating. Do you see what I mean? You're not subscribing, but you kind of are, because you're paying the up. So every time, every year when you pay the Roland thing, you're paying a similar amount a year for the Arturia thing, except you're not committed to a subscription package and so on and so forth. And of course, you can walk away and keep everything, whereas with Roland, you can't. And so in that sense, I'm glad that Arturia don't do the subscription thing.
So it'd be good to actually have a think about this for the new year, to do a comparison between the various different collections that are out there, because there are so many, and it is. I know I look at them sometimes and just go, no idea, no idea.
And if we're going to talk about collections, we can't not talk about Cherry Audio Synth Stack, which is increasingly fulsome, to use Nick's phrase. Sorry, Nick. It has got, every release comes with even more, and it's got a great pricing model as well, because if you've got half a dozen Cherry Audio plugins, which probably set you back maybe $100 or so, you can get the rest of them for about the same amount of money. They give you a ridiculous discount. Ridiculous is in a good way. So yeah, it's.
There are lots of options out there.
There are
lots of options,
and that's the beauty of it. There, we all have options.
All right,
so V Collection is out now. It's $5.99 US, €5.99, depending on where you get it from. You might get a little bit of a deal. If you've already got Arturia stuff, sign into your Arturia account. You will get your personal price based on what you currently own there. It's available now, and you might like it, you might not. Let's see. Let's have something else. This could be the Arturia show, really, because this happened. Minifreak. This is a brilliant synthesizer. I've loved it since it launched, and it's just been updated to include some very, very useful and interesting stuff. So now we have wavetables in here, and you get 32 wavetables, 64 new patches out of the box, and it's a brilliant thing to have, because it just really opens up the sound possibilities even further on this thing. Plenty of enhanced LFO modulation. There's a super unison mode that just makes everything massive. There's a new sound store, so you can now go and buy or get free sounds. I think there are 3 free packs at launch. So within the application, you can go off and buy new sounds, which is always a handy little thing. This is one of my favourite bits, and it's called Favourites. It's a Favourites panel. If you've got the hardware, you can now have up to 64 of your favourites stored in one specific place. So that's great for sort of live performance or just having your favourites to hand. This update also updates in the software, the Minifreak V plugin. So if you buy Minifreak V now or as part of V Collection, you're going to get version 2 of this. There are one or two things like the favorites, which are hardware only, but pretty much everything is across the board. And if you have the hardware, then you'll have the software anyway, and you download the update and do all the updates within the Minifreak V app. It's $599 to buy the hardware, but of course the updates are completely free of charge. And it sounds amazing, and it always has sounded amazing. I love this synth to bits. It can sound very typically freakish, which is that kind of, it's difficult to describe in words. It has a quality, but it can also sound really big and full. And I think when I first reviewed this, when it first came out, I said it's just amazing how big the sound is coming from such a small instrument. And it's a very well built instrument. If you're talking about the hardware, it's it's a real solid thing. It's got aftertouch. It's just fantastic. It really is a great package. Any thoughts on this, gentlemen? Have you tried Minifreak, be it software or hardware?
No, it's complete virgin territory to me.
Yeah. Andy?
Ooh. Yeah, no, I've tried the software version of it, and I just I'm just kind of give me the hardware. I've been listening to a lot of the demos, and I've been talking to people that have them. They've all said just go.
Me.
Well, we did talk about it. We did talk about it,
Did
actually.
we?
Yeah,
See,
about
my memory's my old
a
man
few
memory.
months back.
Well,
You
yeah.
said I should get one.
Can't remember what I had for breakfast.
And I am really tempted. In this latest update, I've got to say, it sounds amazing. I love the fact it's got wavetables. I love what they're doing with the LFO as well, because you can now essentially customize how it works, and you can make it either one step, musical step, or it will follow what you're doing with the shaper, etc. So that provides for a whole bunch of other weird ways to squapple the sound, as it were, and it does have a unique sound, and I think it feels like it's that sort of that weird hybrid between analog and high Ken Flux, between analog and digital, and FM almost. There's that brittleness as well as that warmth, all in the same package.
Yeah.
And I was quite stunned at just how good it sounds. And you've got things you can twiddle.
Yeah, and it is a very well built piece of hardware as well. I've had it on my desk now. It's kind of my desk controller until I get a proper desk sorted out that I can put the KX under, because even though it's got those kind of mini that aren't mini keys because they're slightly wider, I think, but it has aftertouch on it, and it's a really nice feeling keybed, and it has lots of lovely hardware controls, and on its own it sounds amazing. As a controller, it's fantastic. It really is a great all-round synthesizer. Really,
And I was
really
thinking it could go above, do a triple stack and have it as one of those, because precisely because of that.
I'll tell you what I would like to see is a Maxi Freak, if they call it that. I don't know, but I'd like to see a bigger version of it.
Someone said an ultra freak or whatever, or a super freak.
Call it whatever you want. Yeah, Super Freak would be great, because you think of the advertising potential there.
That would be one I'd be really interested in. I guess a Super Freak double epiphany or something, and then I don't know,
or a Freaky Brute, and they put the two engines, because the Brute engine and the Freak engine together would be amazing.
So you call it a fruit?
If you call it a fruit, fruit.
Or a beak?
Break. That might be
break.
fate.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I like beak.
Yeah, beak. The Arturia beak. The Freak is so chic. They're coming to my neck of the woods next year. By the way, sure.
What, the ducks?
No, chic.
All right, there we go. If only we knew someone that. If only we knew someone that played with them that we could.
Yeah.
If
Don't
only.
That's already been discussed.
Richard.
The other thing, I bring this up every time we talk about the Minifreak. Arturia are known. Okay, they're known for incorporating things into a product and not telling anyone until some while after. So, for example, with the Micro Freak, which again is a brilliant little synth. They didn't tell anyone that the headphone socket actually had a microphone connection in there as well. And then they brought out, the gooseneck mic and the fact that you could use it as a vocoder a little while after they launched the actual synth. And on the Minifreak, there are 2 threaded holes on the left-hand side. There's something that's got to be... Why would you do that? That's not a manufacturing thing, surely. How about a CPU riser board with it? That would be nice. Yeah. But then you tempt fate by asking people to open up a quite expensive synthesizer. I don't like that. I don't like that.
We were talking about this recently.
Ken could actually open up a new sideline. Yeah, upgrading. He says, retirement. What retirement?
I thought the coffee would make it work better.
Yeah.
But I want to know what those threaded holes are for. I was hoping mod wheel grip, keytar action, let's go. But no.
Maybe they just hadn't finished building it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's where they hung
it's not
when they
Behringer,
spray
is it?
painted it. I don't know.
It could be the coffee cup holder.
Yeah.
Or a coffee cup holder.
That's what that mixer needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd like it, yeah. Those holes are to stand. What's this?
Those holes are
Minifreak
made
to your
for
Maximus. Yeah, if only I had a Maximus. Oh dear. Yeah. No, I want to know what they're for, and I've asked the question, and it's fallen on deaf ears every time. So, yes. No, Minifreak. It's just even better now. So if you have one, it's just had a whole shot in the arm, and if you don't have one, then you've now got less reason to not want one. Because I know when the Microfreak got the whole, I think it was granular stuff, the granular. It was, everyone was like, oh, it's amazing. They're still updating the synth. So.
What are you laughing at?
What Wagyu put?
For those that don't know what that means, watch Kent's
Good.
Pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Ticket to QuickFit.
Yeah. Minifreak version 2.0 is out now. You can update it for free. If you have a Minifreak piece of hardware, just first of all go and update the software, because I'm sure you'll have got that already, and then you can update the firmware for the hardware through the software. See what I did there? Firm, hard, soft.
Lost me, I think is what you did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, well.
Oh, we are just sending, aren't we? Okay.
It's the same here, but you skip out 2 of them.
Yeah, that's the Minifreak, and we've all. So that's the Arturia section of the show done for the week. I'm
interested in the next one though. The next one down.
Would it be
The Sound Force?
Yes. Jolly good. I'm glad we're on the same hymn sheet here. Let me just bring that up onto the screen. There has been a resurgence in the last, year or so on all things Oberheim. And that's not a bad thing.
Everything Oberheim.
Yeah. So, we had Tom Oberheim re-emerging on the scene with the OBX8. We've had GeForce Software with their brilliant OBX, and of course the OBE and the SEM. Cherry Audio did a synthesizer expander module just the other week. They've also got an 8-voice emulation out there. We've had Sonic Projects, who've just updated their plugin of the OB. I think, what was it called? OBXP or P? I don't know. It's OB something. Arturia got one in the V Collection. There's the Disco DSP version that's just got a big update to version 3. It's just Oberheim's and of course we can't
ignore
Behringer with their UBXA, which is shipping soon apparently. But if you're one of these people that have one of the software Oberheims, then you might be interested in this, which is the SFC OB from Soundforce, and it is an Oberheim controller. As you can see here, let's just blow this up here. So it looks like an Oberheim interface with the blue pinstripes. Everything's pretty much in the right place. And this should work with most Oberheim plugins. And it costs about, I think it's €399 or £320 UK, but then of course you'd have to put your taxes on top of that. So there it is. It says mapping is available for GeForce's OBX, Sonic Project's OPX Pro 2, the Disco DSP OBXD, and Synapse's Obsession. That's another one that we forgot. Doesn't mention Arturia's one in there, but I'm sure it can't be too difficult to get that to map to the Arturia one. Lovely bit of hardware, but as we always say with these dedicated controllers, it's one box that just works with one synth. I mean, I'm sure you could probably use it on others, but not bad price for a quality controller for Oberheim plugins. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, Kent, you have had some experience with creating a controller for the Imposca, the Imposca, and I've looked at the DX controller as well, and there's a few others out there. The thing is, with the advent of the M series silicon for Macs, their own chipsets, their own CPUs, going out and doing live gigs is actually a lot cheaper than it used to be, and it's a lot more robust. I wouldn't take a PC out ever again to do that, but that makes that possible. And if you're taking out something like that and you're using what's the software people use to play plugins on the Macs? I can't remember. It's someone will remind me of it, but there's a thing which you can put all your VSTs into and you can just play them. You set them up for Mainstage. That's the one. So something like Mainstage. With this, you could have two or three. The thing is, it does have a particular sound, the Oberheim stuff, and the emulations are pretty good. Having something like this, or two or three of these kinds of things plugged into Mainstage, plugged into your Mac and Mainstage, suddenly gives you a huge amount of control without all of the faffery of trying to carry around the vintage or even the new versions, which are horribly expensive. This is £300. £320. It's a good thing, and I'd love someone to do that for this. I want to have the ANX engine exposed as a separate controller, so I have complete control over all the oscillators simultaneously. I can actually see everything that's going on. But this is a good thing, and this is at that price. It's not a bad thing, is it?
Mm. Mr. Man, who's actually made stuff like this, what do you think?
Foolhardy. It's using those CC text map to run it. You could use that on any plugin you wanted. It's just a matter of remembering what you're assigning what to. Yeah. Like any of them. So dedicated. Yeah, if you're really into that particular instrument, you want to do that, then it's for you. At that price, probably sell about 1,000 of them, maybe 2,000 of them, something like that. So it'd be all right. Yeah, it's fine. It's just a controller.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the Oberheim sound, Ken?
I'm a fan of the OB8 voice that I have in the front room, for sure.
But not the X's and the 8s.
Well, they're all it's all like updated iterations of the same thing as they work their way along, isn't it? Yeah, it's all right. They're a nice sound. I mean, but I just love the way the old original 8 voice worked.
Yes. Now there's some interesting thing like Wagoo's just said here. He wonders why plugin makers don't collaborate with these companies, get their VST working on a Linux with an ARM chip, or just run it on board in the Raspberry Pi. and then just bung that into the controller, and hey presto, you've got.
They hate the idea of releasing the software in such a way where it can be copied. They don't like it outside of their domain.
Yeah.
But that's why if they collaborated, though, then they wouldn't have to release it because it would be between the...
Well, what they're saying
there'd be a way
run
of pulling
the
it off
software
the controller.
On the chip inside the controller.
There'd be a way of pulling it off the controller.
Yeah.
So you could have access to the plugin again.
Yes.
And they wouldn't be selling enough controllers for the software company in question to put in that kind of work.
Yeah, true. Very true.
The thing that no one's solved yet with all of these controllers, the one thing that's not really ever been solved is the ability to take the physical knobs and buttons. You could put them on a screen, which you could change the back, the colour of, and you do all things.
Yeah, been done now.
But
been done.
Moving those around so they echo, so you're actually able to move those modules around, so you can set it up so instead of doing it that layout that we've got in the Oberheim thing, you actually set it up so it's a mini Moog, or so that it's a Prophet 5, or so that it's whatever. No one's, and I would imagine that would be hugely difficult to do, but it would. That's kind of what.
Yeah, there was a magnetic one that they did where you could knock it up in the configuration you wanted to use it in.
So there was one that we covered on the show it was quite a while back, where it is essentially like a tablet screen, and it hosts the plugin, or the plugin is hosted on your computer, and then it's there's an app that shows it down onto this thing, and it's got knobs across the top, down the sides, and around the bottom, and you have there's a mapping thing going on, and you then have hardware controls, so they're not necessarily in the right positions on the panel, but they're around the panel, and they're automatically mapped and labelled.
So that's like the element. Is it the element thing that Ty was showing us? He uses. I think it's called Element, isn't it? We had last week, Kent. Do you remember? He brought up a box which he uses to do exactly that. It talks to anything, and it's got knobs, side, bottom, round, top. You can bring up 3 screens and 3 things at any one time, and you can keep sort of scrolling through it.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wagoogle, for reminding me. Here it is. Let me just share this.
Electra One, that's the one. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, that's a similar sort of thing, but what this is. Let me just show you this, because this. I think it's a really cool thing. I'm just not entirely sure I would make the best use of it. There it is. Right. Let's share this. So this is the MP MIDI controller. So as you can see, it's a box with a screen on, and it's a touch screen, and you've got all of those knobs around the outside that all relate to various functions on the actual plugin. So the plugin is showed on that screen, so you can then flick between all of those. And it is available to buy. It is, I mean, I was expecting like twice that, but it's €780. But I've never met anyone that's used one that can tell me that it's brilliant or not brilliant. It's one of those things I would only buy on recommendation from somebody I trust.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's no such thing as the perfect controller, because you can give a controller like that to somebody and they love it, and you give it to the next person and they'll hate it. Because there'll be something about the way you interact with it that they won't like anything else in the physical world. The perfect controller is going to be something that liquid metal, and you just enter literally what you want it to be, and it just reforms into whatever front panel you want.
And I noticed in that particular video there was no twisting of knobs. It was just touching but it's all the touch screen.
Every knob is assigned to a control that's shown around the outside of the screen that relates to something on the plugin itself.
That's where people start having problems, where there'll be certain functions that they always do with a knob, and certain functions they always do by touching the screen, and the knob becomes superfluous to it, and it's because it's neither one thing nor the other.
This is what Mr. Hex, or this is who Mr. Hex is now working for, our friend Robert. And
I quite like the look of this.
Yeah, I do. I've every time I see it, I think, that could be a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
Hit me up, Robert. Send me a demo. But yeah, it looks really, really useful. So that so many companies have tried to
it'd
come
be
up with
nice though.
generic.
Yeah, like Baker said, it'd be really nice to be able to take the plug-in or whatever it is and bring it into the hardware, so that it becomes, the instrument, but in the physical world. I mean, the thing is, when I was working with Eric Persing about doing this Omnisphere controller, he was absolutely adamant that if the software was to be inside the hardware part of it that held the software had to be a Mac.
Right.
So not make up a separate board and have everything loaded onto it. It's sort of like it was literally running Omnisphere on a Mac Mini inside the case. That the only way he would let that software leave its usual, Spectrasonics domain.
Yeah. Now, there have been so many attempts at doing universal controllers. We only have to think back to Waldorf's, was it the Realizer? Which never really, never made it into full production. It was never fully realised. But that's what it was. It was this thing that hosted plugins, and then you had knobs and stuff. It was like as big as a television set. An amazing thing, but
I remember
it's been there for many years.
I remember having these discussions for years with fellow engineers,
I say
because I used to do a lot of
DPG,
engineering, and it was everyone has their own favourite desks. Some of it is to do with the sound of the desks, but an awful lot of it is to do with is to do with the tactile interface, and different people prefer different ways of doing that. I personally preferred the SSLG series. It was, or the AMEC, the 2520, and it was, or 5250, whatever it was, and I never ever really got on with the Neve boards, even the modern Neve boards, because it was all too it was sort of crammed in. And I think it's the same with these things. There's always going to be something which works for the way you think and you like to interact with stuff. You want some resistance, and you want to feel like you're actually turning something physical. So it's a difficult one. But going back to the Soundforce itself, I quite like, it's a nice thing. It's a cheap way of having an Obi directly under your control, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird you say that, because I built two prototypes of the Imposca controller. One was the smaller, plasticky, lightweight version that had, slim encoders and everything like that. It wasn't very big at all. Literally, it was about a little bit smaller than what an Oscar would be. The other one we did was the one I made in the end, which is all big aluminium knobs and bloody wood all over the place, and all the rest of it weighed half a ton. And we put these in front of quite a few people, and they loved the big one.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Because I was absolutely positive that they would go for the obviously the cheaper little one, and maybe 3 people liked that one. And about I think there's about 25, 26 people wanted the big bugger.
Yeah, the Realizer. I remember that.
Yeah, that's that. You can relate to it once you've followed the little green lines to what it is.
Look at it.
It's changing it.
That's a Minimoog piece of software. This was 1980. 5, 6?
2009, according to the picture.
But
good old Wolfgang.
It was mid to late 80s or something. I'm sure Ben from Musings will tell us. But look at that. It's essentially, it's a Minimoog piece of software running on this thing where all the knobs and controllers, they've got a line that goes across the hardware surface and then into the screen. It looks a little bit messy and clunky, but...
Yeah, but you see, the funny thing about that is that thing was what? It was about 8.5K, wasn't it?
It was a huge amount of money.
And at the time that came out, you could buy an actual Minimoog for about 80 quid.
Yeah.
Just sort of like,
you really could. You really could. You go 100 quid.
You couldn't get rid of them. You couldn't sell them for loads of money.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, early 90s.
But I mean, that just, I mean, can you imagine sitting in a studio with one of those and a Wave 2.3 and a Wave term, and you just think you were absolutely in, the future. It was just stunning stuff to look at. Probably highly impractical.
That was so far ahead of its time. There's that phrase, isn't there? It's the second mouse that gets the cheese.
Yeah.
First one churns up, or first one gets bonked, and the second one comes along and eats it, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
something about one drowning in the milk or something.
yes, one's drowning in the urine and I don't know, something like
Then it
that.
goes all
Don't
solid.
mention that word, because look, we're an hour and a half through the show and I'm still okay.
Yeah.
Lovely controllers there. Anyway, yes, look, it's been done 1,000 times, and we never agree that it works or doesn't work. But yeah, Soundforce have got this new thing called the SFC OB. Comes with mapping for most of the available Oberheim X type plugins. If that's your thing, fill your boots, as they say. Right.
Indeed.
So let's. I did promise I would mention this on behalf of our very good friend Dr. Mike Metley.
Yay!
But it's actually on behalf of somebody he works very closely with, and somebody with whom I had a long chat with about this very thing. And I have to confess, I forgot all about it until Mike reminded me just yesterday. So Mike works with a lovely lady called Diana, and Diana, I very sadly lost her husband. He passed away, and so she needed to do something, Diana Smethurst, and she decided to put together an album that from the proceeds of from the sale of which would go to a charity that her husband would have very much enjoyed, because he was a big fan of trees, and who isn't? And so all profits from this album will go directly to futuretrees.org. And by buying this album, you're going to contribute to tree health and longevity, and that's a very worthwhile cause. So let me just bring this up. Here it is. The album's called Tales from the Oak. It's by Gypsy Witch with friends. Gypsy Witch is Diana's nom de plume, and she has a track on here, but there's also tracks from Mr. Spiral, Jim Ottaway, Paul Nagel, Brother Saturn, Edison Rex, Cousin Silas. I don't know, they're all related. Tony Gerber and Giles Reeves, and a few others as well. And it's $8 for the digital album. And if you buy this, they said all profits will go to the charity. And I said that I would mention it, and there you go.
Good.
I've done that.
Yeah.
So good luck to you. And so I had this lovely conversation with Diana. Mostly we were slagging off Mike Metley. I kid, we weren't.
I was.
Just a little bit, maybe just a little.
I was.
But no, we had a lovely talk, and she
More than
told me
usual.
all about this album, and she told me all about her husband, and she's been very strong throughout the whole thing. And it must be an awful thing to go through. But she said she needed to do this to preserve his memory and do something in his memory, but also to support something that he had such a great passion for, the lungs of the planet, trees. So absolutely, there we go, promoted. And like I said, thank you, Ben, for posting the link in the chat. gypsywitchandfriends.bandcamp.com, and the album's called Tales from the Oak. Go and get it.
And thanks for bringing it to our attention, Mike. Really,
Yes, indeed.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really give me much choice. He
I know,
badgered me.
but that's good. That's
badgered
good.
me constantly. No, he didn't really. So there you go. That's that done. Actually, there was another thing, another sort of charitable thing that maybe that we should talk about, or certainly one of our number wanted to talk about, and this is the ongoing project that is Frome Hall Mill, the Community Benefit Society that our Mr. Longhurst is involved with to some lesser or greater degree.
Very greater.
And you've got some updates maybe you would like to tell us about?
Yeah. So I've mentioned this on the show before, and the reason I'm bringing it up here is because the whole thing with the mill is that it has been because it provided affordable rent, because it was a shit tip of a place. Thank you. Yes, because it provided affordable rent, then it meant that lots of creatives have been able to come through, and lots of small businesses, and develop ideas and actually do significant things. Several businesses have come through and gone on to be multi-million-pound things, but they still maintain an interest in the mill. Now it came up for sale, and we know that if it gets bought commercially, that the easiest thing to do is get rid of all the tenants and throw them out and just rebuild it so it becomes another vanilla set of offices. But we've collectively at the mill, and ourselves specifically, MMO, we've got audio studios and video studios, and we've been doing a lot of mentoring over the years and bringing people through and trying to open up access to people who would otherwise not have the chance to experience both, the audio side of things, synthesizers, which is the start of every piece of mentoring I do, is introduce people to synths. Because once you know how an analog synth works from beginning to end, you understand so much about all of the digital stuff that happens these days. And we're planning to do a whole bundle of things with bringing people through who either don't have the money or the connections, or perhaps are neurodiverse, or perhaps are underrepresented. We don't have enough women in our industries, our creative industries. So we're doing a lot of work with that. And Frome Hall Mill is very much going to be an accelerator for that. We're hoping to get the thing bought, and then and we've put in for a community ownership fund grant to get the thing bought. We've set up a board of directors. We've got people. We're raising funds for it right now, and in fact, if you look at the site, go on the site, if you can donate or want to buy shares and be a part of it, you can. But the point being that it allows, we're buying the mill to ensure that we can build up a community of creatives that actually get to use some of the kit that when we were a lot younger, we'd have given our right arms for. And the pace of change in technology is so extreme at the moment that, it accelerates all the time. We want to give people a chance to go from the basics right the way through to the sort of stuff that we're doing with VR and AI and AR and video, as well as all the audio stuff. We're doing a lot of development with a lot of different big companies. We want to give people the chance to do that. And we also want to find a way, as we bring them through, we're hoping to do it so that we can actually get people salaried for a year to be involved in these projects, and then find a way to try and get them funded for an additional year with their own office to set up their own businesses or their own freelance things, because that's the way most work is going, especially in the creative sector. So we see this as a real thing, and we see the ability to be able to use this to reach out to both the creative and the wider community, and give people skill sets that otherwise they wouldn't have access to. And we're hoping to make that either free at the point of delivery to them, or something which they actually get funded to do for a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, a year. So that's what we're doing. Things are moving forward. We've had the support of our local MP. We've got various different companies beginning to jump on board. And we're just looking to make people aware of it and try and get us over the line. We're trying to raise 200,000 in terms of donations and share offers. If anyone would like to know more, please do hit me up, DM me, hit me up, or go on the site and have a look. And that's it. That's my pitch. That's my pitch.
You go. There you go. FromeHallMill.org is if you want to go and find it. The link is in the chat. Thank you, Ben. It's all there if you need any more information. But yeah, it's a very admirable project, and it seems like you're doing very well. And we're seeing this sort of thing happen more and more, and it's a great thing to see, but it's also a sad thing to see, because we shouldn't have to go to all of this kind of trouble. These sort of things are very important and should be funded more centrally, in my opinion.
And the other thing which is worth just bearing in mind, when we started looking at this, we looked at it just as It was just can we buy it? And then we started thinking about why buy it, as you do with all these things. And it is a community project. It's going to be bought by the community for the community. And we're hoping to export that model so that other people can do the same thing. So all the documentation, all the trips and the falls we went through, we want to try and help people navigate through that. And the one thing we do know is that coming down the road at all of us is AI and automation. And there's a lot of people who are going to struggle. So we want to make sure we use it also as a focal point to provide the support to allow people to navigate their way through that.
Yeah. Sorry,
that's there we go.
Cuteness alert.
Hey,
Oh my goodness!
There's a little Noah.
Hey, Nosy, your mate's looking at you. Look.
Hello.
Noah.
Noah. Noah, habla inglés.
Hello, senor.
Yeah.
I am
from
Spanish dog.
Barcelona.
He was wandering around the house earlier. Fiona got him this pixie hat. And he's wandering around with his pixie hat on. Won't you? You love it.
My family seem to like dressing up the cats, and I think it's just horribly degrading to the animals. They're noble creatures.
Yeah.
Walking around with bow ties and Christmas bells on. It's just not good. No,
You look cute.
Andrew, sorry. Great stuff. Thank you for that. Thanks for the update. Keep us posted.
All interesting, but we saw a dog.
Yeah. Sorry. Dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs win.
Dog win.
I was going to make a joke halfway through that because you were talking about AI and AR, and I'm thinking, what's this? It's pirate school. IR. Bad joke. Probably, shouldn't have worked. I should have just kept my mouth shut.
What?
So there we go. How much? We've only got 15 minutes left. I think we've done rather well.
Come on, Noah, do a turn.
To get this through this far on such a week week of news. Week of news. Stop playing with your things.
I can pretend.
Oh dear. So yeah, that was the news. That was the week that was, as they used to say. All the links are in the chat. So if you missed anything, they're all there. Thank you to Ben for doing all that kind of thing, and Andy as well. Of course, we excuse Mr. Brooks because he's off. Well, hopefully he's arrived at the EMOM in Blackpool with Grace doing a turn, as they say. Lots of people saying UVI Noctua. Yeah, all right. We can mention this. I kind of resisted because it's a free little sample library that UVI have brought out in connection with with him. So if you have either Falcon or the free UVI workstation, you can go and avail yourself of this. It's called Noctua, and it's developed by Venus Theory. Howdy doody, buckaroonies. Sorry. Twists my melons, man, as they say.
Why?
Here it is.
There.
But it's free. It's a freebie, so you can't lock a freebie. But there you go. It's a modern cinematic soundscape synthesizer, according to the blurb. I got it. I haven't actually played with it yet because I was scared that there'd be a sample in there, and you press a button and it would go, "Howdy doody, you buckaroonies." And then I'd probably throw something at my new expensive computer.
That one. I remember that video.
Yeah. But no, it's free. So go and fill your boots. And I have to say a big shout out to Thomas at UVI, who I've known for many years, and we haven't spoken for a while. And I had a little bit of an issue because I've gone, my main computer's gone from an Intel Mac to an M1. And I had a few issues with some very old libraries, and he looked after me brilliantly. So thank you, Thomas, at UVI. UVI are a brilliant company. I love Alan, who's the guy, the founder. He's a really super cool dude, and the people that work for them are really cool as well. So thank you all those people there. But yes, go and fill your boots if you have one of these. Should we play the video? Oh, go on, let's play the video.
Yeah, play the video.
Here we go.
Howdy doody, buckaroonies.
Christmas from Venus Theory and UVI. Free Noctua, there it is. And there is a Noctua walkthrough as well if you want to take yourself through that. So that's available free of charge from uvi.com. And you don't need and you don't need to pay anything to host that. You can just get the UVI workstation. And it's free. So you can get to use that one. So there you go. There were some things in the chat that I need to address. So Doobs has asked us, have you guys tried Unify from Plugin Guru? And then goes on to state, it's a great piece of software, let's discuss. Well, we don't have enough time to discuss Unify, but yes, I do own a copy of Unify. In fact, I won my copy of Unify on Randy's show, which happens on a Saturday afternoon. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's a really, really cool piece of software. It's kind of like a standalone host that you can then host any plugin that you want and then build these massive layered split patches and things, and not just instruments but effects as well. And they do great preset patches that bring in all this stuff, and it's very good. And it's only about 89 quid. So it's
cross-platform?
Cross-platform, I believe.
Oh, hello. I might be interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at... Don has mentioned this to me a couple of times, and it's something which I've been meaning to check out. But you say you've already got it. Does it work well, Robbie?
Yes. I love it. I mean, one of the things... What it does is, if you've got a bunch of the most popular kind of free plugins, you'll probably find there's actually a patch set in the factory default settings. And one of the things that somebody did with Unify, out of the box, it's got all of the TX816 presets. Now, of course, that's going to ding my bells, as they say. But it was literally all the TX816 presets had been recreated using DexEd as the free tool. So with Unify, straight out of the box, I'd got all of those things without having to turn the TX816 on, which was very good. So it's a really cool piece of software. And Skippy, John, I think it's John that is behind it. It has got a huge history in the industry, and it's just a brilliant thing. And you can use it as a standalone, so you can use it. Maybe if you're gigging or something, you can use that. But it also works as a plugin within your DAW as well, so you can just kind of build these wonderful patches in there. It's really, really, really good. Really enjoy it, and for 89 quid, it's. As Kosh says, it's kind of like a Reason Combinator, but as a plugin. So you can just stack all these things inside of it and then build super patches. And then he sells sample libraries and things to go in.
And do we know Plugin Guru?
I've spoken to Skippy a couple of times. In fact, we did have him on, albeit in a roundabout way, when we had... and was it Andy? Synth Addict that did the tour of... He'll come on the Synthplex. He stopped by, and Skippy, and I think... Oh, no, it was when Manny did it. I'm sure... it was when Manny did it. And Skippy was there, and there was a couple of others, and they sort of inadvertently appeared on the show and said hi to everyone. But we should get him on the show. He is a very cool guy. And he used to work for Korg and did a whole bunch of presets for them over the years.
So does this work in the same way as Main Stage?
In the fact that it hosts lots of other plugins, yes, but it's a completely different sort of interface. But it's very good. I mean, I think there's a free version you can trial.
I'm downloading it now.
Yeah, go for it. Steve says he nearly won a TX816. I bet that was my friend Godric's in Cambridge. I was keeping an eye on that, and it sold for about 1,040 something. I'm sure that was the one. It would have been very good, Nick, because Godric looks after his stuff. But yes, I certainly am a fan of Unify. It's a very good plugin. There were some other comments that I missed.
Thanks, Doobs.
Yeah, thanks for that. Mustn't forget, of course, Jason Crouch. Latest tax duly paid. Thank you very much indeed. $4.99. And I haven't seen you for a while, but I love that name. Too Many Knobs. $20. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate all of your donations. Fantastic. You keep us on the air and keep us in the manner to which we've become accustomed.
Poor.
Macaron After Party, again, another great name. This is going back to the Minifreak V. There's a situation with a firmware update. Many users on the Facebook group page are reporting errors during the update. My hardware no longer controls V, which I guess he's talking about the software, waiting on a response. Any similar experiences? I had absolutely no issue updating my Minifreak whatsoever. And all I did was I updated the software first. I then did a firmware update from the software. It said it found the new firmware for the hardware, which was 2.0. Did the thing. It rebooted the thing, and everything was fine. But I have seen a few people say they've had issues. And sometimes you have to wonder, and it might not be the case, but you have to wonder, did they follow the instructions, or were the instructions wrong? Who knows?
Just
But
turn
I
the
have seen,
cassette volume up a bit higher.
yeah, exactly. These people, they know nothing of the struggles that we had. Yeah,
Into a T8. Oh,
yeah.
kid hell. Might as well
A
put
little
it
bit
with
of
a hammer.
Tipex on the volume to make sure. That
Yeah. Just get the numbers and just smack them in one at a time.
hopefully, hopefully Arturia will address that
Yeah.
soon. It shouldn't be a massive issue. Dead Man Walking asks us, do we remember the Creamware Pro 12 ASD?
God, yeah.
Yes. I remember, and I think I've probably said this story before, again with Steve. We were at a trade fair at Olympia in London, and they had the Creamware Pro 12. They had didn't they do 2 or 3? They did one that was on a Prophet 5, one that was a Mini Moog,
Pro 1.
and was the third one the Pro one?
I think there was a Creamware Pro 1.
Yeah, and they all had the same form factor, and they were at this stand, and they had all 3 of them in this kind of 3-in-1, just like end cheeks that stood them up, and it just it was proper moistness, and it sounded incredible.
probably
It really
need a
did,
pee.
and it was the first time. This must have been. It was around the time of the Fusion, the Alesis Fusion launch. So I'm thinking 2007.
Yeah,
I thought it was earlier, the
Around
Creamware.
that. I know they'd been around for a little while, but these
It's
units were fairly.
04, 05, 06.
It's kind of
time.
mid, isn't it? Mid 2000s, and
Yeah.
for that time, that was an incredible thing to have. I mean, nowadays we'd sort of like, yeah, whatever. But then it was just like, oh wow, that's amazing. That is, yeah, really good and very well built. But
2006.
2006, yeah. So
go,
I was a
yeah.
year out. But yeah, they were lovely, lovely things. Yes, so we do remember those with affection. What happened to Creamware? Did they go out of business? I think they did, didn't they?
Most likely all bought up, swallowed up by another company.
I wonder what happened to that technology. Yeah, Minimax. That was the Mini Moog version, and there was the Pro 12.
Haven't got anything.
Pulsar. They had the
Prodigy.
Pulsar, remember?
Prodigy. That's what it was. Thank you, Ben. I'd like that boy. He's a good chap, that Ben. He knows his shizzle. I had to stop myself there. Yeah, so we are aware of that, and yes, it's very good.
Very good.
Very good. Were there any other things in the chat that I might have
Don't
missed?
start. Don't start. No.
I thought you got a squeaky chair for a minute, but it's Noah.
That is nose.
It's my chest squeaking going.
Yeah.
No, it's Noah.
He's
But
spotted Tim
isn't it,
Tams.
sometimes you hear a funny noise. And, oh no, sorry, that was my hip.
No.
Or your bladder.
Oh, don't. I think I'm doing okay, but I might have to rush off soon. It does. If I sit still, I'm generally okay. But fingers crossed, it's working.
You're creating a draft.
Legs crossed.
Yeah.
Sausage request.
What?
What? Synth addict.
Yeah, basically, this is pretty much what it
Oh
is.
yes, of course. It's Noah asking for sausage.
Yeah. You dirty dog. No, don't give me that look. No.
No,
No.
you started him now. Anyway, I don't think we've got anything else to talk about. So
We did sort of talk about synths a bit.
we did. I think
Yeah.
to be honest, we got through 2 hours of essentially what there was 3 news stories and a couple of plugs. Macaron After Parties asked a question. Is there a past episode exploring the Oxy 1 firmware 4.0? No, I don't think. I think we might have covered the Oxy 1, but I don't think we spoke specifically about... Yeah, we have... Oh, God, it might be some while ago that we spoke about that. But no, we didn't have any discussions about the actual firmware update on that one, because I think mainly because none of us have got any experience of it. So it'd just kind of be like reading the blurb. So, yes. When Doob says, when's the raffle? Raffle? What raffle? There's no raffle.
I got a lot of shit to give away.
Well, no. Apart from 30 odd unused USB cables.
No, I was up in the attic getting some bits and pieces, and there's a lot of gear up there, and I got absolutely no use for it whatsoever. Okay. Some of it's brand new.
I'll bring the car around with an empty boot. OP1 field update. Yes, apparently the OP1 got a field update with I think it was a bit crusher.
Another field.
Yeah. Was there was a bit crusher and something else. We talk about it on the Gear News back channel, so to speak. And Robin's comment was, "Is that it? All that for that?" So no, it's teenage engineering. Bless. So yeah, sorry, I was going to mention. So what's happening next week is the Friday before Christmas,
even
the
worse,
22nd, and we will be doing a show. And it will be our Christmas silly show. So come and join us for that. There he goes. Just you need to be naked. And
I wonder if he's learned the second part yet.
Go on in.
Not knowingly.
Ooh.
There should have been a 7th on that.
Just Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So Christmas show next week, which will hopefully we'll have something to talk about. If not, it'll just be Christmas silliness.
Talk about how cold we are.
Yeah, indeed. But the week after that, we're going to have this again. Our Music Technology Awards. A big thank you to our wonderful Ben for doing the graphics for us again this year. Ben is okay. He's just gigging. That's why he's not around so much. So hopefully Ben will be around for this one. I don't know, because this is busy time of year for the band. But yes, Gear of the Year show. And that's going to be the show before New Year's Eve. So
broadcast out of a brothel in Islington.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And if you are unfamiliar with our Music Technology Awards, we do it slightly differently. So every year what we do is whoever's on the show comes to the show with their favourites in each of those 3 categories. And we keep it to 3 categories. Otherwise we could just get so bogged down in it. So basically there's best hardware, there's best software plugin, and then there's best production tool. And we felt that covered most things. Yeah. So software instruments, hardware instruments, software plugins, hardware plugins, effects plugins. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And then production tools covers a multitude of sins. So it could be your favourite controller or your favourite DAW. Or the favourite thing that's come out this year. It has to be a new thing this year. And then the way we do it is we come to the show with our sort of short lists, and then we discuss them amongst us. So I'll say, my top 3 software synthesizers for this year were X, Y, and Z. And then Andrew comes along and says, actually, I liked A, B, and C. And then Kent comes along and says, well, I kind of like PQR. And so then we discuss which ones we like.
By the way.
I don't like them. I don't like PQ or R.
Come to an agreement.
Useless.
Whereby we sort of reach a consensus between, and we invite all of our guests and chatties to contribute their opinions and reasons why. That's the thing. You can't just say, "Oh, I want that." You've got to say why you want it. Right. And then what we do is we come to a very democratic consensus, and then we end up with a final kind of top 3, and we choose our favourite, and that we are unanimous on, and that'll be our winner.
We're We're going to have
Totally
opening
surprised.
titles with this, kettle drums. And no.
Maybe I can.
Oh, you
spend
just
some
did the
time-
voiceover. And now.
And now live from Norwich.
And no, live from a field somewhere in Exeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do on the show after Christmas, but before New Year's.
From
We'll
a
do that every
peat bog somewhere in the Emerald Isle.
Yeah. Talking of the Irish.
Talking.
Slightly
yes.
Irish.
Or from the valleys. We could do it from the valleys, see?
Thank you, Ollie. Look out for some new stuff from Simon, apparently. €5 because he's in that there island. Thank you very much indeed for that. Missed you. Haven't seen you. You must have been really, really busy.
Yes, we have. There is some news on the ELZ1 play in that they've finally got all the parts back. They're building it up. I think the best guess we have at the moment is it's going to be January.
I wouldn't expect it before the end of the year.
Yeah. And the second lot probably February onwards. But they are actually now building them out. And they're building them out, doing the QA testing, all that kind of stuff. So January, February?
Yeah. And as soon as they come, we'll be talking about them. But that, along with the lo-fi
Gear
12
of the
XP.
century?
Well, this century. That's it's only 20 odd years.
CS80. Well, that's that over and done with. What
Yeah,
else
that's
are you doing?
Boom. End of the show.
Yeah.
Different century, that though, Ken.
Yeah. It was last century.
Yeah. So it doesn't
Oh, okay. Not
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
100 years then.
count.
Ollie making up for the exchange rate. Thank you very much.
Hey, hey, ho.
Well, it's still here.
So yeah, so that's what's coming up for the rest of the year. Is our Christmas show next week, and then our award
Looking
show
forward.
the week after that. If we've all sobered up and gotten over the food poisoning.
For the Christmas show, or the 22nd, or whenever it is, will alcohol be involved?
I hope so. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. So I absolutely
Yeah,
hope
even I have a drink at Christmas.
so. Yeah.
You're my bestest pals. I love you.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Yeah,
There we go. Thank you, Manny. Manny says, anything announceable yet from me before the end of the year? Yes. Well, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but there is something coming on the Sound on Sound podcast, electronic music podcast channel.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's the date today?
15th.
So, Sunday, Monday. Around Wednesday. I would like to
The
estimate
20th.
around Wednesday, if you make sure you're subscribed to the Sound on Sound electronic music podcast channel, it's all completely free. There'll be an excellent thing. I think it's excellent anyway. And it will be appearing in your lugholes about then. So that's all I'm going to say. But it was a lot of fun, and I think you might enjoy it.
Good.
Can I just ask, what's that a giraffe of?
This
Yeah.
is the giraffe. Jeffrey the giraffe of indecision. Yeah. So
Is
Jeffrey.
that its final name?
Yeah. It's sort of like, should we move the mixer? Don't know. Let's think about it. No, not over there. Over there.
The giraffe of indecision. I need
Yes.
to get something now, don't I?
Oh, by the way, the frog will be here next week.
And that's the frog of.
You can't say on this show. You'll have to wait for the pub.
Oh yes, you have to wait for a pub for that one.
Yeah.
Righty-ho.
Fair enough. Anyway, I think it's about time. We've now gone way over. I mean, we've
We
gone
have.
from one extreme to the other. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always.
I believe
thank you.
Mr. Synthetic is Attic.
Synthetic.
Synthetic.
Oh, that would be great.
That's what I got. I got
You
a
got
Synthetic.
yeah.
Mr. Synth Addict is doing a pub after PSN tonight, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I probably won't be able. Well, I might join that later.
Yeah, I'm not physically capable at present of running one.
I've
Although-
got to. I've got to do family things. So, but once I've, fulfilled my family obligations, I might pop on. But listen, gentlemen, thank you. Yeah. So Andy Synth Addict is probably going to do a pub after this.
I may drop on late.
In about
But
90 minutes,
we'll see.
he says.
Yeah, it will be a lot longer after
Who
that.
knows? I might have the studio finished by then.
Yeah. So that'll be probably around 10:30 UK time. So we'll be back same time, same place next week with the pre-Christmas show. Don't forget, Ranzy's on tomorrow, 1 p.m. I think Jamie's on next week. This Sunday. And can I
Ranzy's on
also
tomorrow?
say, Ranzy's on tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he is.
Good. Oh, good.
Although I won't be able to do it because I'm out at lunch because I'm missing the football.
Oh dear.
I've got to say big thank you to Nick and Andy at Sonic State for the lovely little Christmas gift that you sent me today. It was a big surprise, and thank you very much. Thank you. We ought to do something like that from next year if we've got enough funds in the bank. Send gifts to our friends.
I got a Fortnum Mason bloody hamper today.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that from Sonic State, but
Bloody
it was a lovely
cheapskates.
thing.
Sonic
Lovely
State,
thing.
cheapskates,
No.
honestly.
No.
Oh.
But yes, big thanks to those and to all of our fellow YouTube live streamers. So thank you, and
That was very kind
success
of
to them all. So yeah, we'll be back same time, same place next week. All the usual people in the usual places doing their usual things on YouTube. So make sure you go and support those people by liking and subscribing and sharing and doing all of that stuff. And apologies if you started off watching on Instagram and it shut off after an hour. That looks like it might be a limit. I don't know if we can do a 2-hour stream on Instagram, but at least it worked for half the show. I can't see that being a problem for us. So anyway, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whichever you feel is most appropriate, and we will see you all same time, same place next week. Until then, have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Say bye, Jeffrey.